Hi, everybody, and good morning on this beautiful Saturday morning. And I have dogs barking. Stella, hush. So, Brian and I will be talking about digestion and higher brain foods this morning. And I'm Chris Vanberg. We're with a company called Corporate Fit. And I'm joined by Ryan Johnson here to discuss digestion first.
Good morning, everyone. What we're going to talk about is digestion, and we're going to talk about some foods that will specifically help and cater to better digestion. I've got some stuff that we'll show you that we use personally, and from the importance of digestion, it actually is accountable for about 85% of our immune system, and lack of digestion function properly is what's causing autoimmune disease, allergies, which is equated to leaky gut syndrome, and we will discuss those. The best thing that we're going to talk about first is probiotics, why they are effective, why you should use them. We actually have about 4 pounds of gut bacteria in our intestines. That sounds exciting, right? Some of the probiotics that we use in specific, Chris has a picture of a Good Belly that he'll hold up and he'll show you. And that has a specific strand of a LP299V, which is very potent. It's actually proven scientifically to make it through the stomach juices and acids and into the gastric area where it can actually proliferate in the small intestines to help balance out the gut bacteria. Now, leaky gut, you heard me talk about, or heard me mention at least, leaky gut is very prominent. That's where actually a lot of our food allergies and immune issues are coming from. And leaky gut is just, if you think about the intestines, and the probiotics should line all the way around the intestinal tract. Leaky gut is when we have processed foods, toxins, undigested food. Leaky gut causes the intestinal wall to inflame, which means that you start to have leaks in the gut where the probiotics aren't there to defend and to ward off and to help break down the foods. And what happens is they actually get infiltrated into the bloodstream. And your body actually thinks that it is being attacked, which is not a good thing when your food is supposed to be nourishing you. So the Good Belly, we have had significant responses from our clients that have had IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, and digestive disorders, and how effective this stuff has been. And you can actually get this at natural grocers. You can get it at Sprouts. You can get it at Whole Foods. I wouldn't suggest paying any more than $4.19 for a 4-pack. Sometimes they get 8 or 9. I would definitely not go that route. And I'll show you a couple of other options. Next one we have here is a brand of sauerkraut that I just started eating, and it's smoked jalapeno. It's very good. But sauerkraut in specific is effective for, it has trillions of probiotics per mouthful, and it's very economical. Like that bag was $6 or $7. And you can literally have a tablespoon a day would be ideal to significantly help your digestive system and to boost your immune system by 85%. Chris, you have anything you want to chunk in there?
Yeah, so just to expand on what Brian is saying, there's actually more bacteria in your gut than there are cells in your body. There's trillions and trillions of bacteria. And it's all about a good, healthy balance. And most people have an unhealthy balance because of their diet and because of periods of time where they've gotten sick and they've taken antibiotics. And you have to understand that antibiotics kill the good bacteria as well as the bad bacteria. So it's a lot of times it's about replenishing and getting your body back to a natural state of where it should be. Most people don't eat enough raw food, so they're not getting those probiotics. When he talks about sauerkraut being the best over-the-counter natural food, highest in probiotics versus any other food. But since almost everybody is not in balance and almost everybody has what we call, not enough good bacteria breaking down the food, then, that leaky gut is a common thing. And that's why people's food allergies can change from year to year. And it's because their body, once undigested food makes it into the bloodstream, the immune system treats it as an invader because it doesn't recognize it in its trace mineral or element form. And once the immune system recognizes that as an invader, it remembers it's an invader for years, and it will always attack that food. And so that's why it's so important for our food to be so properly digested and our bacteria to really be breaking it down to its minimalist form so that our body can recognize it and absorb it and doesn't treat it like an invader. And so that's what we're trying to get back to, that normal state. And when you get back to that normal state, people that have high food allergens and stuff, a lot of those allergens will start to disappear over the time as their body starts to normalize.
So awesome. Chris and I actually use a few different things from a supplemental perspective. I'm going to show you a couple of things that we use that are specifically for digestion and higher brain function. One of them is going to be clove. I'm sure you've heard it, I'm sure you've smelt it, but that actually is got the highest antioxidant value of anything on the planet. In its essential oil format, it has an ORAC scale which is over 1 million, which is dramatic. Like, that will significantly boost your immune system, and it is amazing at helping to increase your natural bile production so that your food can be broken down as it gets into your small intestine so that you can assimilate it properly and utilize the nutrients. The next one we use is basil. See if you can see that. Basil, there it goes. Basil, obviously the plant, has significant effects on how it actually helps to digest foods. It's actually one of your top 7 primary herbs. It has scientific studies on amazing things that it actually helps with brain functioning. Like, I use this myself daily, but I also use it with my clients with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and people who have neurological functions, and it's amazing to see how fast this stuff will work because of how small it is in molecule size and how readily available it gets into the system and affects the digestion for elimination of toxins, but it also helps from an oxygen perspective, and there's phytochemicals in the basil that significantly help higher brain function. The second one is peppermint. It's got to beat up because I use it a lot, but this one is actually amazing. I use this one. I actually carry this one in my pocket from the way that it looks. You could probably tell that, but it actually is scientifically proven to increase your brain capacity and mental accuracy by 28%. The guy's name is Dr. Denver, like December, but Denver. And they have some amazing things and studies that they've done with peppermint in specific, how it helps the digestion system. You can put it on for headaches. You can use it for stomach problems. It's one of those ones that's it's a lifesaver, and I keep it around my house on a regular basis and obviously in my pocket. Got anything, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, peppermint is an awesome essential oil. It's antibacterial, it's antifungal, it's anti-tumoral, so it's anti-cancer, it's anti-parasitic, and that's one of those just, all around healthy and, anti-bad stuff in our diet. So being all that and being a digestive aid, it's a great essential oil to have around, and that's why Brian and I probably keep it in our pockets every day, all day.
So also, too, people with asthma and breathing disorders, it helped my respiratory system dramatically. I can tell you, as a person who grew up taking allergy shots at a very young age and used to drink a gallon of milk a day, that living in Austin has been a little challenging for the first 10 years, just trying to get my allergies balanced out with all the stuff. But since I've started using some of the foods that we'll talk about today and some of the supplement lines of things that I use to really help my digestive tract, my immune response and my allergies have been increased as far as my breathing capacity by 80%. Now, if you think about breathing capacity, it controls your ability to burn body fat, it controls your ability to control stress, it controls your ability to be able to sleep. It has an effect on everything. So when you can help your digestive system and utilize things that are going to benefit you from a breathing and a digestive system perspective, your life will be significantly increased as far as your vitality and your ability just to function at a higher level.
I would say, too, just to make a note, you have to understand that your internal allergies and outside allergies are definitely related. If you can ask a common American, and unless they have some extreme allergic reaction to some food, they're like, oh, I can eat anything, I'm not allergic. But if you do a food panel on 300 foods, that person is 10% that person's gonna find out they're allergic to 30 foods they never knew they were allergic to. And one of the reasons why that's so important is they're probably eating those foods all the time, and maybe they're not having an extreme reaction, or maybe they are having some external reaction like hives or rashes here and there, or they get stomach pain sometimes. but they also makes them more sensitive to the outside allergens because their immune system is fighting food. So if you stop and you reduce your food allergen intake and you can allow your immune system to rest, then it also makes you less sensitive to those outside allergens that, you know, that are in your environment that maybe you're not able to do something about.
Yeah, and to add to that, they could be having a consistent reaction and just understand and think that that's just the way that life is, and are unaware that there are things that they can do to really start to dial down those autoimmune responses to really function at a higher level. And honestly, I've always been, you know, healthy, I guess you would say, and as my knowledge has increased, my experience has increased, my vitality and my understanding of what I'm capable of functioning like has dramatically increased. I thought I was healthy 2 years ago, but I knew nothing at that point on what my body was capable of doing. So it's just a matter of what's relative to the individual to determine where they're at, and if there's some things that they can suggest or change and implement that will significantly help that. But probiotics is a great place to start, and I would highly recommend that your family, your loved ones, your kids, yourself, get on it. It will keep you out of the doctor significantly with a lot of the flus and the colds and the garbage that comes around. You know, one thing that you can add to that too is enzymes before you eat your meal, and especially if you're like an A blood type like Chris, like him and I are completely different. I can digest steaks with no problem, but if he has one, it'll sit in his digestive tract for probably twice as long as it will mine, just because his body's not designed to break those things down. If that's you and you choose to eat red meats and things that are heavier, then I would highly suggest that you get a plant-based enzyme and take 15, 10, 8, depending upon how big of a person you are, to help to break down those foods so your digestive system is actually aided and not just thrown in the ditch for a couple of hours until you get it all digested out. Something that will help you that we drink, and I drink straight out of the bottle, which most people probably won't be able to do, is apple cider vinegar. I have a couple of mouthfuls, I guess you would say, of this daily before my meals, and this kind of stuff's like taking a shot of Goldschlager if you've ever taken one. It will go straight down and heat your body up, and you'll actually feel your digestive system and acids kind of kicking in. But what the apple cider vinegar does is it releases bile and helps with the stomach acids to release, because it's very alkaline. So when it hits your stomach, it releases acids in your stomach to get a pre-digestion, so to speak, to help digesting your food. It's also great for gout. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, no, most people mix it with a little bit of juice or something to take it. You know, I recommend if you do like pomegranate juice or something that's very anti-inflammatory. And you know, ACV is used for all types of healing modalities, so it's definitely a good supplement. And when we're talking about digestive aids, you know, one of the things I want to be, you know, explain is, you know, think about how many people take acid release, antacids, Tums, things like that, the Nexium, the purple pill, you know. And most people are totally unaware that they're getting these stomach things, one, because they're either eating something that they're allergic to, they're eating something their body can't process, or they want to continually eat bad food, so now they're, instead of changing their diet, they're taking a pill that has long-term side effects because they want to keep eating these foods. Sometimes it's too much acid you're producing, and sometimes it's not enough acid you're producing. So there's lots of different things you can do from a digestive standpoint. Once again, he mentioned digestive enzymes. If there's really foods that are tough to digest, you can actually get hydrochloric acid in a powder form that helps you break down foods more effectively. But one of the things I want to really reiterate to people too is, you know, acid in their stomach. So most people are unaware really how the digestive system works, and I want to explain it because I think it really has an impact on what you input into your body. And that's like, you eat some food. Your body doesn't really contain a lot of hydrochloric acid in your stomach naturally. It doesn't start producing until you've eaten a lot of food. It takes about 20 minutes for your body to really start processing the food that's in your stomach and produce that hydrochloric acid to eat up the food to make it small enough to make it into your small intestines. So one of the first things we can teach you about digestion is don't drink water when you eat your food. You actually slow down that digestion process. So I want you to be mindful of that. Good. Drink water 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after. Really helps you actually improve your digestive process. It helps. It's like lubricating the joints, right? Drinking water 30 minutes before, getting everything to help flow easier. However, when you're eating your food and you're actually drinking a bunch of water or fluid with it, you're actually slowing the digestive process because you're diluting that hydrochloric acid. The next step, which is also very, very vital, is when that food enters your small intestines, your body has to produce bile to neutralize all that acid. You have to understand that acid would eat up your own internal linings if you didn't neutralize that. So bile secretes an alkalizing solution that neutralizes all the hydrochloric acid because all their probiotics, your prebiotics, all your digestive enzymes need to live in an alkaline state. And if acid kills them, so for your body to really break down and digest all the foods, they need to have, those bacteria need to be living in an alkaline state. So besides not drinking water, the other suggestion I can tell you to do is don't drink sodas. And the reason why sodas are is a pH of a soda is 2.5. That's literally 10,000 times more acidic than your blood and way more acidic than your probiotics and your prebiotics and digestive system. And a fluid, like a carbonated beverage, washes directly in your small intestines. It doesn't sit in your stomach. It doesn't. Your bile doesn't have time to neutralize that acid. So that acid washes directly into your system, and it's killing off that good bacteria. It's killing off bad bacteria too, but it's killing off all the bacteria, and it's killing off your digestive enzymes, which help you absorb your vitamins and minerals from your food. So, you know, don't get me wrong, if you eat a burger and fries, and it's going to have a hard time, you know, your normal acids probably have a hard time breaking down that processed food, and a soda might assist you in that way. But normal day-to-day function in normal foods, it's not helping you. It's actually hurting your digestive process.
Yeah, and when I actually have my reward meal, I actually will have a soda with my burger, my pizza, so that it helps to break down that garbage. And I'm not saying have it all the time, but I do have at least one a week. It's important for you psychologically and physically when you're on a consistent nutrition program. You know, one thing scientifically speaking is that when we hit the ages of 30 and 40, our bodies will be 15 to 20% less effective at producing the same amount of hydrochloric acid, which will dramatically affect your ability to break down foods. That's one of the reasons why eating meals every 3 hours or even 2 hours in smaller quantities is great for helping to boost the digestive fire to help to break down foods on a consistent basis. Anything else?
No, but I will say, if I'm getting some text messages. If you have questions, feel free to post them in the Facebook event, and it'll help us read the questions too. So we'll address them at the end. One of the things that we'll try to assist is a lot of these products that we'll show you we do take on a regular basis. You know, Good Bellies I almost take almost every day when I have them. The sauerkraut I eat almost on a very regular basis. You know, I also you know, the peppermint and the basil. You know, those are essential oils. And anything like an essential oil or some foods, we also use in a prescriptive basis. And what I mean by that is, you know, there's so many foods that we can help you address specific symptoms or needs that you personally have in your body. And so we try to help you address. So we're giving you a lot of things. So we're not suggesting you have to take all of these products every single day. What we are saying is if you're dealing with constipation specifically, constipation is one of the most, you know, it's just so common, okay? There's people out there that don't go to the bathroom for 3, 4, 5, 6 days at a time, and that's not good. That's your body's natural way to detoxify and get out. And you should be regular, and I mean by regular like 2 to 3 times a day. And if you're not, your body's not really processing and pushing things through the way you could be. You could be dehydrated, you could have a lack of enzymes or probiotics or digestive enzymes to really process your food. Or you're eating stuff that is causing you to produce mucus and causing inflammation, and it's keeping stuff from pushing through. So just be mindful of all these things. If you're constipated, you know, we're giving you these foods because I think they're good for you to help you resolve that constipation issue. And so, or food allergy issue, or acid issue, or whatever you might be dealing with. So that's what we mean by prescriptive.
Yes, good point. So we're going to move on to brain foods now. And what we're going to start off with, in my opinion, well, not really necessarily in my opinion, but scientifically proven, is going to be the most effective for people with ADD, people with ADHD, people with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, kids, babies growing up, because what happens is our brain is 60% fat and 30% of that is DHA. Okay, and DHA, I've got a couple different brands here that I use, and this is a Nordic Naturals. There are a few other ones out there. I've had the best effects with these myself. I use these for my family, for my mom and my dad, and here is a more, I'd say, medicated dose. This is about a $35 bottle. The other bottle's about 27 bucks. One of them's a cherry flavor, or a strawberry flavor. Now, my daughter is 7, and she'll chew those up, and I can tell you that when I use these myself and when I use these for people who actually require them significantly, they make a dramatic difference on your ability to remember short-term, long-term, remember names, remember where you put your keys, all kinds of stuff. Now, they also control your serotonin and your hormone levels, which is what makes you happy, what makes you burn more body fat. Your brain specifically functions off of fats, and the specific one is DHA from fish oils, which actually comes from marine algae. That's the only place that it comes from. The other component that's actually in the fish oil should only be EPA. If it has something on there like other omega-3s, it's garbage. Don't get it. Just stick with the ones that have DHA and EPA. DHA is for brain function, and EPA is for prostaglandin or hormones or inflammation control. Got anything, Chris?
Yeah, to add to that, that's how you really tell the quality of a fish oil. You have to understand there's fish that are caught in the ocean, small fish, big fish. I mean, you can get fish oil from krill, phytoplankton. You could get it from, bigger fish like tuna, technically. But the bigger the fish, sometimes also the more toxicities the fish could have picked up along the way. So that's to be mindful of. Then there's even farm-raised fish, and those fish weren't given marine algae. They weren't given good nutrients, and so it could be 1,000 or 2,000 milligrams of fish oil, but if it doesn't tell you how much specifically is omega-3 or it's a low percentage of the overall fish oil, then you're getting crap, because omega-6s and omega-9s are both inflammatory. They're not good for you. They're bad fats because that animal didn't, or that fish didn't take in good nutrients. So be mindful of that. Most fish oils on the market, and the reason why we gave you like Nordic Naturals is because, and Now's pretty good, is because we believe that you should be mindful of what you're putting in. So just because fish oil could have DHA in it doesn't mean that marketing from some companies is not taking advantage of that and selling you a low quality fish oil if they can get away with it. So not all fish oils are created equally, and so keep that in mind.
Yes, and to add to that, fish oils is not one of your number one combatants for cardiovascular disease. It has amazing effects on the heart, amazing effects on the blood, and amazing effects on blood thinning. So do some research on it. We always encourage you to do research and prove all things and hold fast to that which is true, because there's a lot of information that's out there that isn't necessarily correct or proven. So just check it out. We always encourage you to do that. The next thing we're going to talk about is actually walnuts. Walnuts is probably one of your top nuts or seeds next to the black sesame seed, but the walnuts in specifically, if you've ever looked at one when you bust it out of the shell, it actually looks like a brain. And if you're talking Chinese medicine, the like kills the like. So you have kidney beans for kidneys, you have walnuts for brains. Just think about it from that level. But specifically, walnuts have high amounts of arginine, which is a vasodilator, which means that it opens up the blood vessels. So people who have blood pressure issues, people who have high cholesterol, people who have strokes, these are very vital to open up the bloodstream to get more nutrients and more oxygen. And it also has ALAs, which helps with inflammation. Chris, you want to chunk anything?
Yeah, I want to talk about old mindset versus new mindset, okay? And a lot of the misconceptions are based on even like 1950s and 1960s science, which is when we first discovered cholesterol or LDL, we knew that fat was producing LDL in the body, and LDL was, we were linking LDL to heart disease. Since 1960 science, we discovered there's two different types of LDL. There's good cholesterol and there's bad cholesterol. And the bad cholesterol is dense and hard, and the good cholesterol is fat, soft, and it's lubricated almost. And so that's actually what we get. Well, that's the kind of LDL that our body produces when we eat these good fats. And so those help your, so don't be scared of fat, right? And that the old 1960 science that oh, well, it could make my heart disease or worse, that's based on, you know, the bad LDL. Now, I'll give you the one of the number one foods I know that produces the bad LDL, and that's fructose. Glucose, you know, and sugar. So, you know, glucose is used by every major cell, every organ in your body. Fructose is not. Fruit in its natural form contains fiber, and so the fructose from an apple, when you eat all that fiber, is no big deal because the fiber removes any bad cholesterol that you're going to take in with the fruit. However, fructose by itself, or products made out of high fructose corn syrup, are going to produce more of that bad cholesterol. And you need to be mindful of that because, you know, that's why fruit juices and things like that are not bad. Never mind the blood sugar spike and the insulin produced, but then also there's lots of bad cholesterol produced because you're taking in fructose without the fiber.
Yeah, good point. And one more thing to add to the melatonin, for those of you who have insomnia or people who have sleeping issues or travel and are on jet lag in different time zones, take some walnuts with you. They have high amounts of melatonin, so if you can eat them 30 minutes to an hour before you go to sleep, they will significantly help your sleep, and they will also help with oxygen promoting to your brain, which will help you to get deeper levels of sleep. That's another reason why, just a quick note, that sunlight's very important in timed amounts during the day so that the sun gets into your eyes and it secretes melatonin. Have you ever noticed when you've gone to a pool or you've gone to a beach for a long amount of time and then when you get home you're just out like a champ? Well, what happens is that sunlight actually releases the melatonin, so your body responds very well to catching deep sleep. The next thing we're going to talk about is the avocado. Avocado is your top two foods in glutathione or detoxification mechanisms next to the asparagus. The seed in the avocado we highly recommend to blend up in your smoothies, provided you have a blender that will chew it up. That's the highest amount of soluble fiber, so anyone who has heart disease, who has plaque buildup, the soluble fiber from the seed will actually go through there and dissolve all of that stuff out of the arteries so that your blood can flow more, taking more nutrients and oxygen to your brain and to your body to allow it to thrive.
Yeah, and let me add to that. Glutathione is it's an enzyme. It's a protein-based enzyme, and it's one of these detoxification enzymes. We have a couple in the body. There's one that's called superoxide dismutase, or SOD. There's one called catalyst, and then there's glutathione. The reason why glutathione is so important is it's an enzyme that can actually pass the blood-brain barrier to fight off free radicals on the brain. So almost any neurological disease there is all sort of spreads the same way. And what we mean by that is they all spread through free radical damage, destroying neurons. And you sort of see the symptoms based off where the damage is occurring in the brain, right? So Parkinson's might be certain part of the brain, or the memory might be dementia, you know. And so, and that's why sort of some of these neurological diseases all start to have sort of the same symptoms, because it's where the damage is going on. But anyway, that being said, Parkinson's can be a prescribed, it can be prescribed glutathione, but the problem is glutathione is short-lived in the body. So even if you get an injection, it only will short-live and help you reverse symptoms for a short time.
What do you know? Did it keep going?
Yeah.
Sweet.
So, hey, we don't know what happened, but here we go. So olive oil, from a nerve perspective and dealing with neurological disorders, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, brain function, olive oil is very potent because of the vitamin E. People with epilepsy and seizure issues, vitamin E is very crucial to help with nerve functioning and communication. So, and here's the thing with that. If you're heating olive oil, I would not recommend that you do that, just because when you heat a monosaturated oil, it changes the structure, and then it's no longer recognizable by the body. I would recommend cooking with butter or ghee or coconut as our top choice if that's what you were using it for. Next thing we're going to talk about is actually acetyl L-carnitine. It's an $11 supplement at the store that is completely natural. Now, I can tell you, I have seen people's lives changed with this very product by itself. It's a neurotransmitter found in certain foods, but the supplement works amazing. It's something that I take pretty consistently, almost on a daily basis, just due to how well I've noticed my brain functioning work. So if you want to try it out, I don't have a bottle I'd show you, but it's called acetyl L-carnitine. It's not L-carnitine. It's acetyl L-carnitine. So make sure if you're attempting to get that you get that one. From a chelation perspective, or pulling toxins and bad toxins out of fats, specifically in the brain, cilantro is your #1 chelation herb. It's very potent. If you're going to use it, make sure you use it with asparagus, or that you use it with avocado, because what happens is if you ingest the cilantro and it starts pulling all the toxins out of your brain and puts them in your bloodstream, well, if you're not detoxifying those out through asparagus and avocado, they're going to recirculate back into your system, make the situation worse. Now, it's very important, if you choose to do this and you are not using the restroom, you're going to have a problem. Heavy metals and mercury are specifically moved through the bowels by 80%, which is dramatic. Like people who have autism and Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, when we work with them, we work with getting their digestive tract working efficiently for a week to 2 weeks straight before we do any type of chelation therapies, to make sure that their exit and their entrance and their exit strategies are both on the same page, so to speak. Celery is another one. Basil is another one we spoke about. We talked about avocado and asparagus. Chris, you got anything you want to add with that?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to emphasize the importance of this, right? So the digestion and the brain are totally linked, right? All the chemicals that your brain needs to produce comes from your digestion. And so if your digestion, and it's also the way your body needs to detoxify everything that is in your body. So neurologically, we need to take in all the things that are going to help clean off all the toxins that we've absorbed from our environment. And then digestively, we need to be able to flush those toxins back out. So it's important to be, to do all the different things that we've really already spoken about, and to do them together, right? And they're very synergistic the way. There's a research center called brainadvance.org, and they take people with severe autism, learning disabilities, even brain damage from accidents, or people that have had really the blood-brain barrier damage. And what I mean by that is, if you've ever had a traumatic event with your physical head, or just in the environment, there can be damage on the blood-brain barrier where blood can make it onto the brain. And the blood's got a lot of toxins on it that the brain can't handle. And then your body has trouble cleaning off, and that part of your brain is not going to function properly. Anyway, brainadvance.org is one of these research centers that really, they don't give you any chemicals. They just get your digestion right and physical exercise. And in 10, 12 days, they take people, as long as they take people, they have people with restoration and physical movement that had permanent disabilities from neurological damage, like being able to walk or talk or chew their food. They take kids with severe autism, and the turnaround and the abilities for the children to just be able to function on a normal basis once they get both their digestion right and they detoxify them and they clean out their body. So this can be done. You don't have to go to a special research center. It's like food, water, the right enzymes, the right nutrients. One thing I really wanted to say is you have to understand that nature puts its best ingredients in reproduction, and we have to understand what we learn from that, right? So human male sperm actually has DHA, and because once that sperm impregnates an egg, the very first thing it needs to create is brain cells. Brain is the singular function of our whole body. It controls everything, and so it also needs to be clean and pure and have the nutrients it needs. So having that DHA fat is vital, cleaning off toxins is vital, and having your digestive system running like an engine. Think about your car. You can put gasoline in it. If you put something that's besides gasoline in it, how long do you think that car is going to run, and how efficiently is it going to run? It's not, right? And so your body's the same way with the fuel you put in your system.
Awesome, good information. So hey, I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to show you 5 different things along the lines of stuff we've already talked about for brain food, some things that we use. A lot of the stuff is grocery store, the oils and stuff. If you choose to get some, we can show you how to do it, but we're going to show it short. So thyme or thyme, or however you choose to pronounce it, this is potent. There's a lot of research done on this, specifically on how it actually has the ability to conserve DHA. So DHA can be used for brain function versus an antioxidant to kill off free radicals, which is hugely important. Two other brain foods. These are some of my favorites. These are goji berries. These are by Ron Teagarden, Dragon Mountains. These are the best ones that I found. I would not waste your money on anything less than that, because you're going to pay the same price. These are just very juicy, and they actually have a lot of the nutrients to them, and they're not like chewing on bricks.
If you really want to know, go buy another brand and go buy that brand and then taste them both, and you'll realize how much better that brand is.
Yeah, and it doesn't take a lot. I mean, goji berries are potent. We can have another conversation about that. But here's another one. And I started doing these at night before I go to bed with my protein source. And what these are is these are raw cacao beans. It's just chocolate before it gets made into chocolate. These are very potent for people with prostate issues, for people with Parkinson's, for people who are looking to increase their brain function, people who are looking to increase their ability to burn body fat, people who are looking to have higher frequency dreams. These are bad. I mean, you can take these and grind them up and put them in your coffee if you choose to. You can put them in your yogurts. You can put them in your protein shake, and they're very inexpensive. The last three, camu berry. This is your highest source of vitamin C. People with ADD, ADHD, vitamin C is one of the main deficient minerals in it. You can get the highest amounts in kiwi, but in camu. Kiwi is your second source. If you're experiencing allergy and breathing disorders, I would do the camu berry first thing in the morning. I would do an emergency pack first thing in the morning. I would add a kiwi with that. And then what I also add to it is I add an orange essential oil, which is for brain function. It's got I'll think about it in a second. What it does in specific is it actually targets breast cancer reversals and prostate issues, and it specifically helps to secrete glutathione through the liver and through the brain function, and it specifically goes through the blood-brain barrier, just like Chris spoke about a little bit ago. So it's something that we use on a significant basis daily almost. So that's all I got.
Yeah, so just to recap, get your digestion right. You know, avoid a lot of processed foods. If you want to know what the top 5 allergens are, it's wheat. Well, number 1 is dairy. Then you've got wheat, corn, soy, peanuts. But then gluten is kind of right down the list a little bit. So, you know, understand what the big allergies are, and if you start to eliminate those out of your diet, you'll notice improvement. I highly encourage getting food allergies tested. So. Don't drink water when you eat your food. Drink water 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after. Don't drink sodas. It destroys the enzymes, the probiotics, the prebiotics, which we've defined as really is 85% of your immune system. Taking DHAs, taking good essential fats, taking the nutrients that your brain needs to help both detoxify and produce fresh new brain cells. These are all linked together, and they are optimum for feeling better and a different health. You know, I always bring in this sort of theory of relativity, which is like you feel kind of like here every single day, and this feels like norm. Some days you feel a little better, some days you feel a little worse. But you feel this way every day, and you don't realize that you can feel this way every day. If you just start to change your environment and what you put in your body every day, it brings up the way you feel, and every day you'll slowly start to feel better. It's not an immediate change, but if you make these improvements, you'll start to feel better at a higher level, and that's the best thing we can encourage you to do.
I would encourage you to master the basics before you get into all the crazy stuff, or work with us, or get some information that we can help you kind of tailor things for your own requirements and your own needs. Chris, is there any questions before we get offline?
No, I don't believe so. I think that covers it. If anybody does have questions, we're available obviously via email and or via our Facebook, and we appreciate everybody's time. Thank you. Yeah. Have a great Saturday.
Thank you.